centimeter left, so it's a bit of a hassle at the moment. So I might actually too cute. I can't with these. Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle and I'm the owner and creator of The Eighth Salt. It is my handmade small business where I sell scrunchies and hair accessory type products. Today's video will be a studio vlog where we will be sewing up a pink gingham check inspired collection. As you can see, we will be sewing up this pink fabric here. You will probably very easily tell what the inspiration for this collection is. It is an inspired collection. We will be making a number of items in this fabric pattern, which will include scrunchies and bows. We will be making 3 size bows, extra larges, regulars, and the skinny size as well. The particular style bow we will be making is the one to sit on the back of the head with tassels coming down. I do have some bow clips here as well, which we will be using today. I did purchase these quite a while ago, probably mid or towards the end of last year to make bows. However, I didn't get around to doing it, so we will be doing that today with our pink gingham check fabric. I do have a roll or a bolt of fabric here in a blue stripe pattern, but it is not for sewing. This we will be using to mock up our pattern for the bows. I have made bows in the past, however, not this style bow and not for selling. So we will be using this to mock up our pattern. We bought these quite a number of years ago for about $1 per meter. So it is fairly inexpensive. It is a thin cotton. It has some stability to it, yet still flexible and malleable, which is the perfect in between for all fabric types, and the fabric that I have found the best to pattern make and mock up my designs. I have mocked up all of them, including my scrunchie range, using this fabric. There is quite a lot on that bolt, and when we purchased it, it was quite a substantial roll of fabric. But this is what we will be using to mark up and pattern make our hair bows. I am looking for a very specific style of hair bow in a specific proportion between the bow itself and the tassels. So we will be using that fabric to do some tests and some pattern making until we get the right size. And then we will be making it out of our inspired pink gingham check fabric. I have been debating whether to make this collection for quite some time, probably since the beginning of this year, and finally thought, why not? So we will be doing that today, and I am very much looking forward to it. As you can see here, we have our custom pink glitter HTV market sign, which has been living here since we have made it. It is the perfect spot for it, as well as it does hide the electricity ports and all the cords, so it will probably be living here in between markets, as it does look pretty cute and definitely goes with our theme for today. If you are a regular watcher of this channel, you may have noticed that we are in a bit of a different spot compared to my studio space. There is much better lighting in this section from the 2 adjacent windows in comparison to my studio space. So we will be sewing up our collection here for today. So without further ado, let's get into it. We will begin by mocking up our bows before we cut into our pink gingham check fabric.
All I want, all I want is me and you.
first mock-up, but the tassels are a little too big, but I do like the proportion of the bow. It could be a little bigger, but that is what that looks like. So I haven't sewn this up, it's just a single-sided strip for the mock-up. And then we have this size, which is more in line with the look and proportions that I was going with. Might need a bit of tweaking, but essentially that's what the look we are after. So I got these proportions with a few tweaks and then cut them out to sew. So I'm going to bring out the sewing machine from my studio space in the other room and sew this up to get a look of what the bow will look like double-sided, and then we will go from there. That's what that one looks like. I do want these shorter, like that. Okay, I'm going to do a few more of these until we get it right, and then I'll check back in with you guys in a minute. So I've got a few mock-ups here that I have made. This one was the first one, however the tassels are too long and not really what I was after in terms of look and proportion. So I then made this one, however they are shorter, the tassels, but still too long, but definitely getting closer to what we are looking for. I then made this one, which is more in line with the look that we are going for. Keep in mind, it's just a single-sided fabric. I have not sewn these, they are not double layer. They are just quick mock-ups to get the proportions right. But this is definitely more in line with what we are after. I then sewed it up double-sided, as you can see there with the seam. However, not really what we were looking for, I should say. This was more in line with the look I was going for, because keep in mind, I want these to be placed at the back of the head here and be a feature in the hair. And then I mocked up this one, which is more in line with what we are after and the pattern and dimensions that we will be going with. So it is a large bow, however the tassels are shorter and in proportion to the bow itself. I have gone ahead and just clipped on a hairpin there for you to see. So this will just clip in on the back of the head, and that is what our bow is going to look like. I have sewn this one up double-sided, so this is the complete look. We won't really know the complete look until we sew it up in the Gingham check pattern. So I'm going to sew up only one using this pattern just to test it and make sure the proportions still work for this check pattern, because the checks are large. And although the bow is large, it is still a fairly small item. So we'll see what the check, the pink gingham check looks like in this bow. So I'll sew up one before we cut up all the rest, just to double check. But essentially that is what our bow will look like, and that is there. So I went ahead off camera and sewed a strip here for the middle to tie the top bow and the tassels together, and just did a quick clip on the back. But that is what we will be sewing up today, along with a few scrunchies as well. Okay, so I'm gonna get to cutting this for one of the bows and test it out and see what it looks like. So pretty. still need to hot glue this, but we will do that all at the end. But the pattern and the proportions work pretty well with this size gingham check. This was the mock-up, and that is the final product. I may make this inner portion section here a little thinner. I feel like it's a little too wide, so I will be making the rest a little smaller, maybe by a couple millimeters or about half a centimeter. But it is looking too cute. So that's the mock-up. This is a finished product. So I'm gonna get to cutting the rest of the fabric. We'll be cutting out all the scrunchies and all the bows. I'm looking to make 4 of each. So 4 for all the 3 sizes in the scrunchies and 4 in this hair bow. And if we do need more, I can always make some more with the leftover fabric. But I'm gonna get to cutting everything, and then we will start getting them all sewn up. Cut up here. These are the scrunchies. There's 4 in each size, so XLs, regulars and skinnies, but I've still got to cut them in half, so we'll be doing that in a second. And then these are for the bows. I'm gonna get to cutting these in half, and I've just remembered that I need to cut the angle on these, so I'll go and do that off camera, as I have moved my cutting mat off this table and back into my studio space, which is a bit of a hassle at the moment. So I might actually bring my pegboard and pin it up here, since we'll most likely be sewing in this studio space moving forward, but we will do that later and in another video, in another vlog. So I'm gonna go cut these on an angle and cut these in half, and I'll be right back. These are all now cut up now. I've cut these on their angle for the tassels, so they have a bit of a angle when they are folded. And then the scrunchies, I have cut them in half as well. These are the skinnies. I cut them in a bit of a hurry, but they are still even. So we're gonna get to sewing these. Before we get sewing, actually, we need to work out where I'm going to place my tags. So with the scrunchies, I sew them into the side when I use the burrito method, and they appear at the front. However, I don't really want that for the bows. So, I mean, we could put them on the tassels, but they will stand out, which is not what we want for the look of the bows. If we put it there or on the side maybe, and put it up here. And I do have 2 sizes for the tags, which are these sizes. So we could potentially use the smaller one as well and possibly put it there. So I'm not sure if I want it on the front where it can be seen, or somewhere on the back in the seam, so it still has my logo in there but it's not seen from the front. Or we can do the bigger one. I'm gonna put it up over here so it'll sit up like this. However, when it's folded into the bow, it'll fold back into the back. That way there is still a logo there is still my brand there, however it is not front and center on the bow. Okay, so we are going to go with the smaller tags. So as we needed to work this out now, because I will need to sew them into the seams. I already know the placement for them. For the scrunchies, I have a tried and true method for those, so they are all good to go. However, as this is a new product and a new design, we do need to work that out now before we get them all sewn up, and I think that's a pretty good placement for them. Okay, so I'm going to get to sewing these and get all the tags in the scrunchies and in the tassels, and we will go from there. Sewing is done. I need to cut them apart and then sew the scrunchies in the burrito method, and then with the bows I need to flip them the right way and then sew in the tags. So we will be doing that now. I did test the tag in one of them just to see what it looks like, and it's looking pretty cute. So when it is folded there in the middle for the bow, it'll sit on the inside and it'll fold in. So that will be the front, that will be the back. So it'll be at the top but folded down at the back, so it won't be visible from the front, but it's not front and center, and it won't distract from the look of the bow either. Okay, I'm gonna get to cutting these apart and then do the second stage of sewing. these up. So the scrunchies are in their tubes. We still need to flip them. And then all the pieces for the bows have been sewn. So these are the bows in between. This is the bow themselves. And then these are the tassels. And I've gone ahead and sewn in the tags there, as you can see. So I'm gonna get to flipping these, sew and then thread them with the elastic, and then I'll check back in with you guys before I assemble the bows. Like at the end, but now we're going to assemble the bows. I've got a needle and thread here, so I'm just going to sew them up by hand, and then I will stitch the ribbon, this knot part, using the sewing machine. So there's 4 here, so let's get stuck into that. can't with these. Total obsession. There is my logo at the back, so you can't be seen from the front. These turned out so cute. So these are to wear on the back of the head like this. This is the mock-up that we did, and then this is the final. And then here are the scrunchies. That's the XL, the regular size, and then this is the skinny. However, we already have a skinnies range, so this size is actually new to us, and our skinnies range is only for our satins. I'll grab one to show you what it looks like because it's actually quite different. This is what our skinnies look like. So they're made in satin and they look quite, they look quite different to these. So we might actually call these Petits and name these, keep these as our skinnies, and then these will be called Petits because they are a completely different size and a different pattern that I used. So that is the difference, but it is a pretty cute size, very versatile size. I did actually have all my pink thread ready and prepped for the final seam to top stitch them in the pink. However, I ended up just sewing them in the white and didn't end up forgetting to swap out the thread in the sewing machine. However, you can barely see the stitches there. I don't know if that's going to focus for you, but the stitches is very fine and you can barely see it. I'm not sure if my camera died at that stage when I was sewing these, but you didn't miss much. I was just top stitching them, but that is what they look like. And I am obsessed with these, totally obsessed with these. These are so cute. They turned out a lot cuter than I thought, and I'm glad we got the proportions right and took all that time to find the proportions for these. Usually my pattern making takes me a really long time, either a day or two. However, we were able to get that pretty soon on the first few attempts. So these are pretty cute. I've gone ahead and just glued the back using my hot glue gun just to make sure that the clip is secure there and that it is attached to this little tie part here. But that is what they look like. I have a couple markets scheduled for this weekend, which I will be bringing these along to. I have a market on Sunday, which I will be bringing you guys along to. It is a market I have not attended in the past, so it'll be new for me and new for you. So that is it for this video, and make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you get a notification for when I upload that video, and I'll see you all in the next one.